I decided to do another tutorial today, and it's basically something that I made years ago, and I'm going to try or attempt to make it again. I'm going to make beef patty. So here in this bowl I have about 2.5 cups of all-purpose sifted flour, and in this bowl here I have about a 1.5 tablespoon of granulated sugar. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of curry powder, and I have a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, and I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and those are the dry ingredients that I'll be using. And then I'll be using, I don't really love using this much, but in order to get my patty crust flaky, I'm going to use it, some shortening, and I have a whole stick of unsalted butter here, and of course water. And I'm going to come back and show you. So here I'm going to add in all my dry seasonings, and I'm just going to go ahead with my hands, clean hands of course, and just toss that through the flour. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in my shortening, which I already measured out, and this is two tablespoons. So I'm just going to kind of go ahead and cut it and drop it in there. It's kind of hard because it's sticking to the knife. And I'm going to do the same thing with the butter. And the butter has to be cold from the fridge. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my hands, and I'm going to work the butter through the flour. If you have a food processor, you can use that. It might make your job easier. But I'm going to use my hand. And water, of course. But before I add the water, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break up the butter and work it through until it... Okay, so this is how it should look when you finish mixing the butter through. You see how that looks like beach sand? That's how it should look before you actually start putting in the water. So this is just from working in the butter and the shortening. And I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to make my dough. I'm going to pour in the water, and I'm going to make my dough until it's a ball. Okay, stay tuned and I'll come back and show you the end when the ball is completed. So this is the ball that we want. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to get plastic wrap, and I'm going to seal the ball in the plastic, and I'm going to set it to rise or set for an hour. So the dough gets nice and pliable, and it gets nice, and so that way it'll be flaky when it's baked. Sorry, okay, so I'm back again. Now I'm going to show you the ingredients that I'm going to use to make the filling for the beef patty. So first over here I have about a pound of ground beef. I have a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs, a 1/2 cup of water. In this bowl I have about 2 tablespoons of ketchup, and I have about a teaspoon of browning. Over here I have a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, dried thyme, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of curry powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, and a teaspoon of salt. And I have here 1 chicken bouillon. Also I have scotch bonnet pepper, 1 whole onion diced. So I've gotten my ground beef in a hot pot, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to brown this thoroughly through, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in my fresh seasoning. So the onions, the garlic, that's what was left out of the tutorial when the video cut off, the scallion and all the other stuff that I showed you. So just let your meat brown all the way through before you add in your natural seasonings. Stay tuned. Using the oil, this is what came off of the beef because I didn't put any oil in the pot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the natural seasonings. And I'm just going to kind of stir. Okay, so I folded in the onions into the meat. I don't know, some people probably like their onions chopped a little finer. I like to be able to taste a little bit of my onion in my patty. So, and I'm going to go ahead and add in the dry ingredients and my bouillon. I'm going to kind of break it apart over the meat. And then I'm going to fold all that in, and I'm going to turn on the fire. Okay, so now that I've folded in all those seasonings, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my ketchup and my brown into it. I'm just going to fold that in. And once I finish folding that in, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my breadcrumbs and my water. And I'm going to just let it cook down for about 15 to 20 minutes until the... Sorry for that, the video cut off before I finished speaking. So I went ahead and I added in my breadcrumbs in the water, and now I'm just letting the beef simmer down, and it's, you can see, it's the consistency that it needs to be a filling. It's soft because of the breadcrumbs, and believe me, the smell in this kitchen is amazing with all the dry seasonings and the fresh seasonings that I put in, and the taste is also amazing. I can't wait to put this inside of the crust and get it in the oven. Anyway, this is how the filling should come out. Stay tuned for the rest of the patty tutorial. Sorry, by the way, you gotta let this cool for about 30 minutes before you use it in the crust. But it's gonna take a while to prepare the crust anyway, so just let it cool off of the... Okay, so here's the dough for the filling. It's been sitting for over an hour. And I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna prepare them. So what I'm going to do is pinch off a piece, and I'm going to roll it into like a ball, just a little bit, nothing crazy. And I'm going to flour my surface. I'm just going to kind of knead it around, and I'm going to take the rolling pin, flour that a little bit, and I'm going to roll it out. And if the video cuts off, I'll come back and show you the rest. So you kind of just roll it out so it's flat enough. So when you rolled it out flat enough, you kind of take a bowl or anything that you have that can make a circle and kind of just cut away the excess dough from around it, and that'll make a perfect shape, and that's what we're going to work with. Perfect shape. And then we're going to just take and put in some of the patty meat inside. Fold it, stretch it if you can, and fold it over like that. Seal the corners. Okay, so once you folded it over, you just take a fork and just kind of like go around it and seal it. And then at the top for venting, I'm just going to make 3 vent holes. And then we're just going to put it on a baking sheet that's been prepared with parchment paper, and we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven and let it bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay? So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you try it. If you have any questions, just hit me up below. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching again. Alright, so really quickly, this is the patties. They're all done. And I'm getting ready to put them in the oven. 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. And I'll come back and show you the finished results.